For me, Extreme Bootcamp is not all about the money. For me, it's a bit of a hobby, and it gives me that little snapshot of being back in that military mentality, that lifestyle, getting covered in mud, getting wet, cold, and just enjoying life, really.
You can be good at a game, be the most boring human being alive, and it's terrible. No one likes that. But like, let's say you're really good at a game, and you're also, you know, kind of funny. You know, that meshes together, and then you've basically got a head start.
My business is small. It's me and my clients. There's nobody else. They come for me. That's the only way I can explain it. My business is just me, and they come for me. They don't come for anybody else.
Lack of confidence at the very beginning. Really struggled with being the front man of a business, but that helped me sort of become a better person. You know, pushing myself out of my comfort zone made me that stronger person.
I've always had an interest in the internet technology that was kind of fostered from an early age by my parents. I'm from the generation, I suppose, that grew up with the internet, but the very early internet, so there was a lot of kind of exploration around making your own websites and kind of that creativity that allows. Then when I went into full-time employment, I was lucky enough to work with some really inspiring employers who gave me a lot of opportunity to try different things.
Come on, team, let's go. But keep pulling. Keep pulling.
The idea behind Extreme Bootcamp was to give something a little bit different to my participants. The idea with the slogan, change the way you train, is literally to do exactly that. We're in the water, we're in the mud, we're lifting rocks, we're lifting logs, but we're doing it all as a team in a supportive environment. With the boot camps and with the personal training, I didn't really know where I wanted to go with things, especially after leaving the Armed Forces. I thought the Armed Forces was going to be my career for 22 years, and then I fell into the NHS and refound or reignited my passion for fitness. And I didn't really know where I was going to go 6 weeks' time, let alone 4, 5, 6 years down the line. It just grew, developed and evolved. And here I am now. So the idea behind our boot camp as well is that we offer a social aspect. The social element is probably more important in essence than the physical activity. So a lot of the individuals that attend the boot camps will go on to do team events such as OCRs, so extreme obstacle events. We have regular social events, and we also do residential boot camps where we stay away for a period of a weekend and we challenge the comfort zone and we push our limits. What I love about the Extreme Bootcamp sessions is that I facilitate the session, i.e. the exercise, the movements, the functionality, but the clients are what make it. The fun, the banter, the laughs. It's almost formed its own little community. And that's one of the key things I love.
I don't really care, I'ma be a millionaire. Like, I don't really care, I'ma be a millionaire. Like, I don't really care, I'ma be a millionaire. Like,
Really what you see on stream is mostly what I'm doing in my free time. I'm luckily in a position where the game that I stream is also the game that I'm non-stop playing because I just love it so much. I'm also known to be like an eccentric person to chat, but if it comes to me collaborating with other streamers or talking to any other people in like a voice chat, I'm very much the opposite. I'm really shy and I'm like kind of quiet, which is what I'm like in my free time. I'll really only talk to like a small group of friends and a small amount of people at a time just because it's what I'm more comfortable with. But really the business side is just, I've really just taken what I do in my spare time and just kind of monetize that.
I don't really care.
It has its ups and downs. Obviously, there's a big problem that people have with a parasocial connection between you and your audience, which is obviously like a struggle from time to time. It's where your audience kind of feels like they are your friend, and then thus you owe them your full attention always, when in reality you're just playing a game.
My job it's lovely. It's a hobby and I enjoy it. It's something that I've always enjoyed to do. You meet so many different people, and actually a lot of the clients become really good friends, which is a really nice part of the job. The mixture of people that you get to know is really nice. You'll have clients that follow you from salon to salon, which is probably the most rewarding thing from your job, because that relationship that you've built with them, it continues and it grows. And sometimes you don't even see your clients as clients anymore. They're friends. And you'll socialise with them outside of your job. You bump into them in the shop and it's like, hey, you all right? You know, it's really nice. It's really good. So when I decided to leave the salon that I was working at the time, it was a big discussion with my partner, you know, is this going to work working from home? Do I have that client base that's going to follow? It's risky. You're in this one place that's bringing you money and you're uprooting and moving it to somewhere else. You know, for some people it's a 20-minute drive now to get to you rather than 5 minutes down the road. I think you've got to believe in yourself and you've got to believe in your clients. And having worked in the industry for 5 years now, you know who your committed clients are. You know who your clients believe in you, and that's the nicest thing. They were actually the ones that egged me on. They wanted me to leave. Well, you can do this. Why are you here? You know, go off and do your own thing. You'll be fine. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to take that step. If you don't do it, you'll never know. I'm just fortunate enough to have a room like this on my premises that we could do up. So I had that more professional workspace.
My passion is, I think as a chef, you have to have an inner passion for food. The hours are horrendous. The conditions sometimes are horrendous. The bullying in the industry when I was a junior was horrendous. So to keep you engaged in that industry, there is a passion that's inside. I've taken all of those experiences, and this is why I'm a teacher now, because I enjoy helping youngsters to find their inner strength, be confident, be able to push through those barriers. And there's so many anxieties out there today that I feel the socialization around cooking and being part of a team helps with that anxiety enormously. As a personal chef, you're very much at the beck and call of your employer. So somebody will ring you up and they'll say that I need a wedding for so many people. You go around to their houses, you see what their requirements are, you go do the shopping, you do the prep, and then you sort of cook in their houses or their establishments. So it's good fun. It's very different to what I do during the day in my full-time work. You get to cook on boats, you know, like nice expensive yachts. And it's just really good fun. And like I say, it's very different to being sort of put into a box of full-time employment. I find personally being able to talk and being able to cook at the same time, quite therapeutic. It's quite a social thing. If you cast your minds back to hundreds of years, you always sit around a table and you talk with food and you communicate whilst eating, and it's the same with cooking and creating food. I've always found that being able to cook and talk at the same time is a good skill. Not a lot of people can do it, but that helps me with my lecturing at the college, because you are cooking and you're trying to demonstrate and bring in all your learners at the same time. So it's both scenarios have helped me actually. So the teaching has helped me in my professional sort of side job, and the side job has helped me with my confidence of being able to deliver that for my learners as well.
I've always had an interest in the internet technology. That was kind of fostered from an early age by my parents. And then that evolved. I'm from the generation, I suppose, that grew up with the internet, but the very early internet. So there was a lot of kind of exploration around making your own websites and kind of that creativity that allows. Then when I went into full-time employment, I was lucky enough to work with some really inspiring employers who gave me a lot of opportunity to try different things under the kind of technology or marketing umbrella. So one minute I might be working on a marketing campaign, the next day I might be taking photos or videos. So I was very lucky in that I was given a lot of experience and a lot of opportunity in my early career. That then led on to me taking on clients in my spare time, so evenings and weekends. I built up my client base in my spare time until I was able to go to my employer at the time and say, look, I've got enough work on now, is it okay if I drop, say for example Mondays, drop one day a week? And again, very lucky in the early stage of my career that I was supported to do that. So it was a very kind of smooth transition. It meant that I never had to have the day where I finished my employed work and move into being self-employed. It was a very organic transition that took about 6 months to come to fruition. And it meant that it was very low pressure for me. I didn't have to find my salary from day one. It meant that I could transition over very organically. My passion within the job is the people, generally speaking, whether that's the clients, whether that's the teams that I work with. I enjoy working with people and I enjoy solving problems with people. The fact that I work in the tech industry is almost interchangeable. It doesn't really matter what the product is at the end of the line. What matters for me is like working with good, talented people and solving problems with those people. So generally speaking, my role is client-facing. I will deal with the clients directly. That tends to be stakeholders. And they'll come to me with a problem and they'll come to me and say, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve, how do we achieve it? And I'll approach that problem with a technical mindset, and I will work with my team to devise a solution, and we'll go back and propose that solution to a client, and then we'll bring that solution to fruition. But the enjoyment for me is in that problem-solving piece. I really enjoy the nitty-gritty of kind of how we're going to approach this, what's the play here. So I enjoy devising those solutions, but I particularly enjoy doing that with a team, and even more so when that team are really talented, like my current team are. That's what kind of gets me out of bed in the morning.
So when I first set out to instruct personal training and group instruction, I had to try and find my feet really to get myself started as a sole trader and working self-employed. I'd done so alongside full-time employment with the NHS at the time. It was quite daunting, I'm not going to lie, but there was plenty of support and help out there. The government website was fantastic for that, and equally there's lots of other little support networks that can give you that advice and guidance when you need it. I had to kind of think, where do I want to go and how am I going to be there, how am I going to get there even? So I started off by just devising a basic business plan in my head. At the time it was just a brainstorm. And then when I got to speaking to people that were already set up as a self-employed individual or self-employed individuals, they said, oh, you need to kind of think just about the basic business plan and put something in place. So I started to look at a bit of research around the target area, the target market, what other fitness instructors, personal trainers were doing locally in the area, and what I could offer that was slightly different.
development of a business like mine takes a lot of time. You need a lot of skill in your own professional ability, so chefing. So you have to have a qualification in chefing and a certain standard. Pushing your business forward then is the hardest bit, because you've got to get out there amongst your customers, and if what they see they like, then it's word of mouth, it spreads, it's recommendations. But you've also got to have good administration, so the bookings, you've got to take deposits, you've got to be able to sort of negotiate those sort of hurdles in your business. You've got to be able to take the bookings, take the money, make sure that you're invoicing everything correctly. Networking is very important, so you've got to be amongst it. You've got to be able to get amongst new trades, so new people, always exposing yourself to new sort of challenges and environments to get more work and secure it. So it's not all beer and skills. It's not easy. It's not all the good bits. But once you've got all those nice little sort of small bits in place, the good bits come.
When it starts off, it's not the most stable thing, and you really don't do it at the start for an income. You kind of do it more for a growth of an audience. But it does get to a point where you will see an income coming in. What a lot of smaller streamers will do, and this is what I still do, is they will get the revenue from Twitch or from other sources and put it back into their content, which just boosts that quality and also makes everything a little bit more enjoyable, because then you can afford to do more things. So maybe you get, let's say, $100 or £100 1 month. You can then put that into maybe a tournament for chat to maybe win said $100 and then or £100, and it all creates that content loop where what you're putting in, you're getting out, and just that little bit more. And it just, once you start getting that, it gets to a point where then it will become like stable. It kind of comes naturally, especially with Twitch, as Twitch has a lot of revenue things that are more, or a lot of rewards for the viewer for, say, donating, subbing, cheering. It gives the viewer an incentive, and that kind of comes naturally because there's this whole like culture on Twitch where people want to sub, people want to cheer, which does help smaller channels. But like, it does get to a point where you kind of are like, maybe I can set a goal for maybe 20 subs, and then if I've reached that goal, I will make a tournament, or I will stream this game, or something like that. And it kind of all works around this whole idea of doing something that you kind of think would be cool. And well, sometimes it ends up being bad, but most of the time it ends up being fun.
Of course, setting up any business is always going to be an amount of challenge to that. We're very lucky in the industry that we work in. There's very low overheads. Really, realistically, as long as you've got a laptop, you can do the job. That's not to say that we didn't kind of invest in the early stages. So premises, offices was another kind of requirement to run the business. We make websites, so of course the first thing that we did was create a website for ourselves. That came with an amount of branding, I suppose, a logo, a choice of colours and typefaces and that type of thing. But ultimately what we found was that stuff wasn't really required for us, because one job tended to lead on to the next. And once we got our name out into the industry, then the work kind of came to us. To give you an analogy for that, the website that we have up at the moment hasn't changed since about 2016, I believe. So we're lucky in that the industry that we're in is very kind of required, particularly at the moment off the back of the lockdown. A lot of businesses are transitioning into a kind of a digital space, whether that's people that previously had premises and that are now trading online, or realistically every business that exists now needs some kind of digital presence. So we are very lucky now, and we have been really since the start, that the work has kind of found its way to us.
You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, TikTok. You know, these are all such big platforms to gain an audience, and it's keeping that audience attracted to your business. You know, you've got to keep up with the daily posts. interactive posts. You know, you've got to think about what they want to see, what are they going to want from you as well. And actually they also want to see a personal side, not just business. They want to know what you get up to on a weekend. You don't always have to do that, but I quite like it because it's personal. So when it comes to advertising your business on social media platforms, it's really important to be feeding them what they want to see. And it could be anything from what have you done today to a positive quote. They bounce off what you give them, really.
Ideally, I've actually had this entire plan of what I kind of have for my next 2 or 3 years. I want to finish college, obviously, but during that I'm going to be putting forward a lot of my time into making content and streaming on Twitch and uploading on YouTube. I want to kind of grow as steadily and enjoy it as steadily as I currently am, to a point where maybe after I don't have to rely on like a 9 to 5 to get by and not be on the streets, I guess. And maybe I can get to a point where it might be my, a secondary income, but ideally it's a primary income. And down the line, maybe get to a point where I can start collaborating with some of the people I look up to. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say that I've actually made them start streaming, start playing a game more competitively, or that I've taught someone something and it's got them to a point where now they can enjoy a game more or enjoy making something more. And it's weird because you don't expect that. You kind of just, expect to just do something that you like, and then you find so many people that like that thing that you do to a point where it kind of inspires them to do something else, in their own way, and it's kind of cool.
I would love for it to gain momentum, sort of become a full-time sort of weekly job, so Monday through to Friday, Monday to Sunday, whatever. I'd like to develop it and be able to put more time into it to develop it. I'm going to be building it into something bigger and better than it is.
So off the back of the feedback I've received really from the clientele at the bootcamp, I never really saw or even imagined where this bootcamp could go or where the brand could go, so to speak. A lot of feedback has been, why don't you franchise this? Why don't you go further out and branch further afield? Admittedly, at the time, I wanted to keep it quite small, quite condensed, but I do think it's got legs. I think it's got room for development and growth. So I'm moving forwards with an open mind.
So since COVID especially, running a business it's really hard, and it's money, your own mental health, that work-life balance. And people forget that you have that work-life balance sometimes because you're really involved in each other's lives in this kind of industry. I don't ever see myself getting a shop. The bills, the contracts, all the overheads are so high that actually working from home and being fortunate enough to have a space like this, I'm happy with. There's so much more to think about. As soon as you step into looking into a proper salon, you're changing it completely. It's not about you anymore. It's about the staff that you're going to employ. It's about your business name, how you come across, all the advertising that you'd have to do. There is so much, it's a whole different world. I'm comfortable with this and I don't think I'd change that.
In terms of the future, I would say that the current plan is to continue the journey as it is at the moment. In recent years, I've really specialised into what I do, so now I work very specifically in e-commerce, and within e-commerce I do a lot of work around subscription. So that's a transition that's happened over the last couple of years, and it's one that there's a lot more room to explore. Longer term, I would love to set up a separate company, which would be some form of software as a service. So that's kind of something that I've got on the back burner. There's been a little bit of research that's gone into it, but ultimately the services that I offer to my clients, one day I would like to turn around and offer that back to myself so that I can set up a business that is able to earn some money kind of in the background without a huge amount of involvement. Ultimately, at the moment, the work that I do, I sell hours, and what I would like to do is either sell a product or sell a subscription, whatever it may be, so that I can earn money without having to actively work on it. So the advice I would give to anybody looking to set up, whether it be a side hustle or a fully fledged business, is pretty much 2 words: just start. The only way that this thing's going to get off the ground is if you actually start doing it. Whether that's planning and kind of doing your research, or getting out there and getting one client that means that you actually start working in the field that you're trying to work in. I mean, that's what I did. I took on one client to start with, and that was enough for it to snowball and turn into what's now a fully fledged business. So yeah, my advice to anybody that's trying to start something would be just start.
I'm a great believer that failure helps us to grow. I've failed many times in my life, and I know other people have as well. But it's those failures that make me stronger. I kind of picture it like going to the gym. When we go to the gym, we take our muscles to the point of failure. I do that with my brain, I do that with my employment, my growth, my development, and my future prospects. So don't be afraid of failure. You might fail at the first hurdle, but actually there's a huge goal at the end of it. So keep working hard. Working really hard is what successful people do.